We were just celebrating America and how much we love her, Lady Liberty.
She's a beaut.
It's too bad that she's got such a crappy men's soccer team. But she's pretty pissed off about that one.
Yeah, not a fan of the footy.
We've had 248 years to figure this out. We can't do it.
No.
We're never going to be good, are we?
We're never
No.
going to be good.
No.
Never.
Okay, so 94, you forgive me for this. 1994 is the
Yes.
year a lot of people cite. How far did they get
I
that
think
year?
they got to the quarters.
It's okay, that's our best year.
Of the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think way back in the 50s, they got to the semis one time.
Okay, all right. So
But
in the modern
in
era.
modern
In the
sports
modern era.
Yes.
No countsy.
And
Yeah.
yesterday in the Copa America tournament, I've enjoyed the Euros and the Copas. You needed a Bolivia, Panama outcome to be a certain way,
Yes.
but you also needed to beat Uruguay.
You had to beat Uruguay
In
in order to give yourself a shot.
And you couldn't do it.
Nope.
No.
You didn't even score a goal. I think they finished the match. I think I have this right with 2 shots on goal.
That's thrilling.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I watched about 70% of this game because I thought, there's nothing else on TV. My baseball team's not playing.
There were only 3 baseball games.
Yeah,
last
they got to
night.
win to advance. This is going to be hilarious if they lose. So let's enjoy this on a Monday night. And that was horrible. It was bad. I also read that they have now hosted 20 different continental global soccer tournaments on
Yes.
American soil. So Copa's random World Cup. 20 different times we have hosted some sort of major international soccer event on our soil. This is the first time of those 20 that we've never gotten out of the group stage.
Jeez, dude.
On our own soil.
Couldn't even get out of group play.
This is our tournament in our backyard.
Yeah.
And
As
we couldn't even
preparation for
advance.
hosting the World Cup in 2 years.
Yeah.
Which, if we weren't hosting, I don't know if we're in it.
And you got to
know?
qualify.
Why do we suck so bad?
Well, in this country, our best athletes do not play soccer, so we'll start there.
Isn't this supposed to be, I believe I read that this is supposed to be the most talented group.
It's a very young and talented group, yes. And so right now, all of the heat is on manager Greg Berhalter. And is he the guy? And can he unlock the potential of this young crop of soccer players? And then you have the politics of soccer and how it's set up at the national level and the international level and who's actually making decisions and all of this other nonsense that at times makes the NCAA look like understandable.
It's that well run, huh?
So
How do you
there's
not
that.
get an outcome of this magnitude, this level of embarrassment, and just rip it all down? Just tear
Well,
rethink
one, you can't.
literally everything.
You don't have enough time before the world. I mean, granted, you don't have to go through qualifications, which for this group might not be a good thing because what they need is competition. So they're going to have to set up some friendlies and play in some other sort of, small tournaments between now and then, but you simply don't have enough time. I know it seems like a long time, but you don't because you're so limited as to when you can play international versus all these guys go play in their clubs all over the world. So you have a limited amount of time in which you have them together training and then playing in some matches. So you're not going to reinvent the pool of players you're going to choose from. So
Yeah, the players likely aren't going to change because these are our best American players. To me, it's more about process. It's about coaching. It's just about whoever is in charge of coming up with the ways that they attack and develop and build team chemistry. This is supposed to be the most talented we have ever been in this sport, yet we cannot advance past the simplest of stages. This is a global embarrassment to not.
It was pretty bad, yeah.
Last night's game, from what I've read, Soccer Dirt's back. Uruguay's pretty damn good.
Uruguay's the favorite to win the thing.
So that's not a bad game
Them
to
and
lose.
Brazil.
It's not getting out of the group.
It's losing to Panama.
Yes, getting to the
That's
point where
problem.
you need to beat Uruguay to advance
Sure.
is the embarrassing factor of this. Last night's game was not. And then you have the coach on the sideline. yelling at the team that Panama-Bolivia was 1-1. So, hey, we're doing okay because Bolivia's got a chance to beat Panama. And like 90 seconds later, they gave up a goal, which was probably offside.
It was offsides, right?
Because the ref was terrible.
He was awful.
That was such a bad look of soccer being like, hey, guys, it's 1-1. We might get bailed out by Bolivia. And no, we will not get bailed out.
I wish Olivia would have stepped up
There
and
was
helped
no
us.
Olivia last night. Is there a good Olivia on the women's team? Could she play for the men's team? Because they at least win.
Probably.
They at least win in advance.
Alexi Lawless, former U.S. soccer player, quite controversial on social media, also a little controversial on television. He ripped him a new one last night on TV and after their loss to Uruguay.
You've talked about learning from losing, okay? I think what we have learned over these cycles is that this team is not able to do anything better than has done in the past. And that hurts. That hurts to say, because that was not what was promised and not what for many we believed was going to happen with this team. Because if this is as good as it gets, it's not good enough. And there's plenty of excuses, but they don't matter. You can talk about opportunities. Well, we got players that are playing all over the world. Talk about playing in Europe. Well, the entire team that you saw out there plays in Europe, so it's not MLS's fault. You can talk about, the pathways and the resources that they have. No generation has been given more, and yet this generation hasn't lived up to that bargain. And when it comes to Greg Berhalter, we heard Stu Holden say it's exactly right. I know there's a sport in firing coaches in all professional sports. And I know the knives are out, and they should be, because this is not good enough from Greg Berhalter. And you have to ask yourself, with 2026 coming barreling down the pike, it's going to come real quick.
Less than 2 years away.
All right? We can't afford to waste it. We can't afford to be embarrassed. And we can't afford to arrive in the summer of 26 with a team that has not progressed, that has not evolved, and has not improved. And I'm sure if Greg Berhalter was here, he would say, oh, but you don't see what's happening inside. I don't give a crap what is happening inside. I don't care about the dynamic. I don't care how much your players love you. I don't care how kumbaya it is. All I care about is I see a U.S. men's national team that is better than before. And we haven't seen that, and that's a problem going forward.
So to sum it up, Alexi Lawless basically on the U.S. men's national team says...
Fuck, dude, spit on that thing.
Not good.
They suck.
They're terrible.
I don't care how controversial he is on social media. I don't care what any of his takes are.
Yeah.
I love Alexi Lawless.
So I've seen him a few times. I'm not going to pretend to be Mr. Watch Every USA match that's non-tournament. But like when I watch him, I feel like I'm seeing what everybody should be seeing. I'm seeing a guy that's really good at his job. And I just couldn't help because I saw our buddy Nick Costos basically on a rant like, imagine saying Alexi Lawless is bad on TV. And I'm not plugged in enough to pretend that I've seen that. And so I'm like, is it just a politics thing? Because I know he leans the opposite way of a lot of people in that sport probably.
Sure.
And he sounds off about it. But if we're just talking about his talent on television, I thought he was phenomenal last night. He summed up America as well as you possibly could. We don't care. We just win.
If you want us to care, win.
We want to win. That's all we care about as a country.
I feel like some of the reaction to these kind of takes, because he does this a lot, is people are very sensitive and they don't like being overly critical. And how dare you say that or attack this guy or attack that guy? I find it incredibly refreshing. I watched that game last night. And I don't watch a lot of American soccer matches. That's how I was feeling watching the game. Like, this is embarrassing. This is the best week. We can't even get a shot on goal. There's no offense. Like, where the hell is everybody? This is horrible. I don't care how bad the official is. I don't care what the score of the other game is. This is embarrassing. And here's a guy who comes on TV after the game and tells me exactly how I was feeling. And I'm like, yes, dude, preach. And I feel like we have an epidemic in this country of people who are afraid or too cozy with the teams and the sports that they cover.
I agree.
To ever be overly critical. And they always shine and they always put a positive, well, we made a lot of progress. Or, this guy played really well. Or, hey, we got an auto bid into the World Cup. Like, this is inexcusable and it's embarrassing. And to have somebody come on TV afterwards and tell me that, I loved every second of it.
He played on that 94 World Cup team. And
who didn't have the resources, the talent that these teams
and their
have.
sense of ownership for them, that was supposed to be the platform to
launch it, move
launched
forward. Yeah.
USA men's soccer towards where they're trying to go, and they've been treading water for 30 years.
Rob Stone threw it to Dempsey right after his rant. Carly Lloyd chimed in. He finished his rant, and then he threw it to Dempsey, and I don't know if anybody caught it, but...
Oh, I did. I was watching that.
Like, he just sat there and didn't say anything.
He was silent for like 5 seconds.
And I get that he just played on that team not long ago, but come on, man. Like, you're paid to be up there to give me insight and thought, and it's just like, out of almost what you say, the fear of like, I got friends in the U.S. Soccer Federation. It's
I can't
just
piss
like,
people off.
come on, man. Like, not up or shut up.
Yes.
What are you going to offend, the losers?
Who cares?
We're a bunch of losers right now.
Yes, we are.
The only thing we got going for us is the women's team, and God bless the women's team, because other than that, we are an utter embarrassment in that sport.
We are. And somebody commented on YouTube, and I agree with this, basically saying rich, pampered kids are not the kids playing soccer in other countries. They are here. The gritty are playing other sports here.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Going down the road of there's no dog in them. There's
football and basketball,
there's no fight.
man. Yeah, they get the gritty, the hungry in this country, and soccer is
rich, spoiled, pampered. Not for everybody.
Not everybody, but
a lot of them are.
It costs a lot of money to play soccer year round. I know people whose kids play soccer.
You want to get into
year-round.
the academies and the system at early ages and in the way that it's set up.
My niece is already plugged. My niece is 8.
Yeah.
She just told me, and I think it's pretty open to a lot of kids, but she's pretty good at soccer. They're like the Thorns have systems starting at that age. She's already mentioned it, like, I'm going to a Thorns thing. And I'm like, wow.
All right.
You're 8.
Well, and then also, how much money does that cost to get in? Like,
Well,
that's half the battle, where you're getting kids that, sometimes maybe don't deserve it, but they can afford it. And that's a tough part with American soccer, is that it's a very exclusive sport to play. And I don't know, maybe that's the case in other countries. I'm very uneducated on this topic, so somebody could call me an idiot and go for it. But when somebody comments something like that and I'm watching the game, that's what my eyes are telling me, that there's just not a lot of fight and there's not a lot of care. There was a guy, and you can help me with the name, but there's a player who is a legend who's now playing in the MLS, I believe plays for Miami, who was on Uruguay. And there were American players, after losing that embarrassing game, that were walking up to him, asking him for his jersey and like handshakes after the game.
Yeah.
I believe that's...
Soccer's very bro-y kind of camaraderie stuff that way.
I'm gonna risk and go Oracle. I believe that is Luis Suarez.
Yes, that sounds right. When they were talking, because he came on late, right, as a sub when he came into the game, and they were asking for his jersey.
We do it in football. Should we come back and be like, would LeBron James be the best soccer player?
I mean, this isn't a Super Bowl, but like, imagine a team losing a playoff game and then a guy standing on the field at the 40-yard line, smiling, swapping jersey. Like game 2 of the regular season, whatever. It's
they
do
that though in the
sure, but not on the field after a playoff game. Though. There's limits to this, right? If this is a friendly match and you're just playing, like, it doesn't count for anything. We're just testing
the jersey
ourselves.
Swapping is part of soccer culture, yes.
That's
because
embarrassing.
Every jersey, when they show tight shots, it has the actual match, who you're playing, and the date on it.
Yeah.
So each jersey is singular to that match.
That's still embarrassing. You lost.
Imagine Tyreek Hill as a soccer player, though.
He'd be really good.
God, he'd be amazing.